guys. So thanks, Kay, and thanks, Tim, to come here to the Athletic School podcast. We really appreciate you guys, and
Thank you for having me.
yeah, and then we think you guys can add a lot to people that are listening to us. So we want to help athletes to create a better mindset, and how to overcome the problems that they go through. And I think you guys are the best example. So thanks so much for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So just to get started, I just wanna you guys to go a little bit over about your childhood. Did you guys play any sports? How was your life when you were younger? And yeah, and then we'll go after that. I don't know who wants to start.
Ladies first.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wasn't a big, like, I wasn't big into sports or anything. I tried, like, everything, through gymnastics, softball, volleyball, swim team, dance, But I came back around to dance. So, in high school, I was on the dance team, and then I also ran a little bit of cross country. But I wouldn't say, like, I'm not an athlete, really. I just kind of did them. I would say I'm a dancer, but, it's similar in ways to a sport, but it's,
And where are you from? Tell us where you're from. Where did you live in your childhood?
I mean, I lived in Concordia, Kansas. I'm from, like, the Northwest, but I lived there most of my life, so that's where I grew up.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Tim. Your turn.
I was born in Sylvania, right here in Ohio, and grew up in Ida, Michigan, about 20 miles or 12, 15 miles north of here. And I grew up. I played Little League since I was just about old enough to walk. Little League baseball, and I played football, basketball, baseball all through school. I mean, 7th grade onward. So I was an athlete. I really went after it. I love sports. I still do, in fact, and interesting enough, I did not make the 7th grade basketball team, but I became a manager. And even though that was a hit to my little ego, that propelled me, that boosted me, that helped me overcome my initial dejection and despair. I mean, it wasn't very flattering and it was a hit to my little ego to be sitting on the bench in 7th grade, but it helped me in the future, and I made the teams all the way through the rest of school. So that initially starting out was an obstacle I overcame, and then I went to Bluffton, got recruited by Bluffton to play football, and I joined the baseball team because there were so bunch of coaches. I had kind of an odd recruiting year, so there were no recruits, so I went there to play football, but I tried out for baseball too and made that team. So then 2 years it was football and baseball in college, which was too much, but that's kind of my background. I mean, I grew up kind of in a farming community. I didn't farm, or my family didn't farm, but there were a lot of fields, a lot of livestock around, things like that.
So you played 3 sports in college?
Yes, yes, for 2 years, yes.
It's really rare
Yeah.
nowadays,
Yeah.
Just a few people can do it.
Right, it was too much, it was too much.
Like, how did you manage, like, going to school, and then how was the practice? Like, they were both in spring or both in the fall?
No, football was in the fall,
Mm-hmm.
and baseball was in the spring.
Okay.
So it kind of worked out. Like, for example, we would have football practice in the afternoons after classes. in the fall, and then baseball. Initially, we started in the morning before even classes began, and then after a while, we switched. When the weather got better, we switched to outdoor practices for baseball. Even though the weather in March in Northwest Ohio was not that great.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Right, no, I like that. Yeah, interesting. So, we know that you guys both had an accident that I guess changed your life. So that's not our main goal here to talk about that, but how you guys overcame that. So just so people can understand, and if you guys are comfortable with, just
Sure.
yeah, just to share. How was the
What happened?
exactly? And I think the main goal for us is to talk about the rehab, how you guys, because we are here, we are having a nice talk, and well, I know a little bit of our background. I know Katie pretty well, and well, you guys, for us, you guys are more than successful. So I think we really appreciate you guys sharing that with us.
Ladies first.
No, I think you're
I think you should go first as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was in the Bluffton University baseball team bus accident in March 2nd of 2007, and what happened was the bus, there are HOV, from what I understand, there are HOV lanes that go up and get right back down on the freeway going through Atlanta, and our bus took one of those. I'm guessing he thought that was one of those HOV lanes, but it turned out to be an actual exit on the left side. And by the time he realized it, the bus ramped up over the opposite guardrail, over the overpass bridge to the freeway, did a 180 and fell to the freeway below. And from what I understand and read and I'm told, I was thrown out of the bus after it flew off the bridge. I don't know where. Doctors in Atlanta seemed to think it was pretty high that I was thrown out. And I laid on the pavement, no helmet, no protection or anything at all. And first responders were on the scene in 4 minutes because of, in downtown Atlanta, you're not going anywhere in 4 minutes, but because the time of morning it happened, 5 something in the morning, there was no traffic. So first responders were able to get there very rapidly and had me in the hospital within another mere minutes. And then that hospital was the #1 trauma center in the entire southeastern United States. And according to one doctor, it's the best in the whole US. So I am, praise the Lord, and thanking my lucky stars for that. And I was 6 weeks down in Atlanta, all in critical care, most if not all of which was spent in a coma, which, as you can imagine, being thrown off a bridge on the freeway, got to be pretty messed up. And then I was flown up to UT, the University of Toledo Medical Center, because that's where I'm from, and I spent 9 weeks, so a month and a half down in Atlanta, and then about 2.5 months inpatient at UTMC, and then when I went home from that, it was 3.5, 4 years of outpatient going back and forth from Ida to UT 3 days a week for rehab. I had to relearn how to talk, how to walk, how to breathe, how to eat, how to stand, how to use my left side because it was locked across my chest in a diagonal position like this. It hurt me to pull out and unclench my fingers. But keep in mind too, when I kind of woke up or came to in UT, I didn't know what happened. I know it was a hospital, but I didn't know where it was. I didn't know how I got there. I didn't have a brain ache or anything. And I didn't know. And come to find out, all my ribs had been broken. My left collarbone was broken, left shoulder blade was broken, spleen was taken out, teeth were completely messed up. There had numerous bleeds all over my brain, everywhere, and other injuries, my teeth, my head, my ribs, spleen, my lungs were deflated, and I was pretty messed up, come to find out. So, it's very humbling especially when I learned that teammates of mine had been killed. And why I'm not killed, praise the Lord. I don't know, Lord knows, I don't, so I'm just gonna trust here.
Yeah, thanks for sharing all of that. And I think the main question for me is how to not give up when you go through all of that.
Yeah.
Like, what made you keep going every day? Like, did you have something that made you keep going? Did someone help you, or did you?
Something
You know what I mean? Like, was it you?
Yeah,
thing?
it was.
Or
A big part was faith. A big part was Jesus Christ, my personal Savior. He helped me. I know He helped me. I guarantee He helped me. I can feel it. And also in the back of my mind was my teammates who were killed. I knew them. I just talked to them. I'd seen them run, seen them play catch, and so my rehab, throughout my entire rehab, I did my best to honor the memory of them because I knew them or their families, they would love to have this chance to be able to do anything at all. So I was give my best for them.
Yeah, I love that. I think everyone have their motivation, and yeah, I mean it's powerful to listen to that because sometimes we have a bad day, you know, and we think it's the end of the world, but we haven't been through anything close to what you have been through, or either Katie. So I think it helped us to think, oh my God, I have so many blessings that I'm so blessed to complain about, I don't know, what traffic, you know, or something like that, or something, the light that wasn't good, or the camera didn't go on time, or something like that. So.
And as you said, it wasn't like 1 week, 2 weeks, it was 3 years, almost 4 years, right? Going back to rehab every single day.
Yep.
And
but then, you know,
No, 3 days a week.
yeah, 3 days a week. Yeah.
But then,
It's
like
still very hard.
with a brain injury, though, it's like the rest of your life, you know?
Well, yeah, because brain injuries, they're healing all the time. They're constantly improving. And it doesn't matter what people tell you. If they tell you, so they told me when I was still in the wheelchair that I would get no better. And
People told you that?
yeah, neuropsychologists told me that. You may see small improvements, but you won't see many more greater gains for the rest of your life. You'll never learn anything new the rest of your life. So tell me, why do I know your name is Igor? I never knew that before. Why do I know your name is Kate? I didn't know that. I learned that, but I'm not supposed to learn it.
Yeah. Yeah, so you must be like a 1 in a million, because if they're saying that, then maybe they didn't see it, but still, like, it doesn't mean that it's not.
Well, they base their predictions on the average of other people with my severe injuries. So,
Right. Yeah, I was kind of told something similar, not quite like that.
what were you told?
Well, I was told, from what my mom told me, like, I don't remember this, but they were just saying, wow, like, I've never seen someone with her injuries recover this fast. You know, but of course, then it kind of came back to my age. You know, I was 16.
Yeah,
So that
age
was my
helps.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Suki, I'm not familiar with what happened to you. You or
Yeah, so,
car accident?
yeah, correct. Yeah. So, I was 16 years old. I just started driving, like, on my own. But, you know, I'd driven quite a bit before that. It's not like I was new at driving, just was by myself, you know, eventually. I was on my way to work, actually. I just went out to my friend's house. So I would have been a sophomore. I would have been a sophomore in high school. And there was going to be, like, a dance or something that weekend. So I was going to, like, borrow a dress from a friend. So, and she lived out in the country. So I was coming off the dirt road from where she lived, and I was just getting ready to cross the highway and go to the median, so I could go left and head, I think it was south, you know, so I had to go out to the median first, and people ask me what happened, and I kind of laugh because I don't really know what happened. Like, yeah, I don't know, I just thought, oh, I'm gonna drive out in front of the semi. Like, that's not what it was. It was just like, I don't remember.
Yeah, I
Obviously,
don't remember anything either.
Obviously,
Everything else
yeah,
told me,
right. That's what's
read about.
That's
Yeah.
what's kind of weird about the whole situation. Yeah, it's just like being told stuff.
Yeah.
And some stuff over time, I'm not sure if I'm remembering pieces or if it's just I'm just creating an image in my mind from what people have told me. I can't really tell what's real and what's not. But so I didn't see the semi coming. It was kind of snowy out and it was really bright. The semi was totally white. But you know, I don't know how I missed that. It was a semi carrying like, you know, a couple more semis. So it was like a huge thing coming towards me. But thank God, I think the thing that partially saved my life is that he saw me pulling out. So he was able to start swerving. However, he still got me. But the way he hit my car, I think he just missed me. Like he kind of got to the left of the wheel. So he hit my driver's side door. I think hit towards the hood, the front left wheel, you know, around that area because he swerved. But then he wrecked everything. He's okay. The driver's okay. But you know, from what I was told, I think I spun a couple times, but I was in a Mustang, so it didn't like flip or anything. It just spun. But you can, for a while, I could actually see the marks in the road from where my car had been hit. But so that's what happened. I don't really know. I think I was told I was in and out of consciousness, and I wasn't completely out. But you know, I have no memory of it. I was bleeding through my nose, my mouth, ears, and stuff like that. But they did. I don't know why, but I guess I had enough time. They drove me to a hospital like 45 minutes away. So that was like the better hospital around. They drove me there. So I don't know. I don't know. I should probably the ambulance.
Ambulance.
Yeah, yeah, the ambulance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not life flighted.
No, I don't remember now. These are the details that I can't remember if my mom had told me or if I'm just making it up in my mind. So I kind of like asked her, but like I don't remember if there was a situation where if it was they were looking to life flight me, but that stuff takes too long sometimes, so they just quicker to drive. But yeah, so got there and. From what I know is I was in the ICU for like a few days, maybe 3 or 4 days. And then I never had to have surgery or anything, but I was in the ICU, and then after a week of being in the hospital, I went to Nebraska to go to rehab. And yeah, I was there for a month. Actually, no. I think I was actually only out from the time I got my accident and the time I came back home, like a month.
So you had like brain injury?
Yeah, yeah, sorry, yeah. Yeah, I have a traumatic brain injury from it. So I had to go to rehab to help me because, I mean, brain injuries are different for everybody. Like, you know, and it's your brain, so there's no limitations. Like, it could affect anything, you know. For a while, like, I got hit on the left side, so I'm pretty sure when I remember, I think it was like the right side of my body that stopped working. Like, tears would come out that side, or like I couldn't blow my nose, or I lost my taste for a while. You know, those are some big things I remember. But I feel like, you know, there's a lot of small things that I don't remember just because at the time, I mean, during that month when I was at rehab, like, you know, it was like waking up from a dream. Like, I kind of remember bits and pieces of it, and I kind of remember being able to start doing things and walking around, but it was almost like, you know how like in a dream you have like, you don't really have the control you want in a dream. You're like, oh yeah, I want to go this way, but like, I'm trying to move my hand, but I don't know if I'm really moving it. Like you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You know, stuff like that, and that's what was weird about it. I don't want to jump around because that was a couple weeks, I'd say, in the rehab. You know, my time, I'm not really sure on that, but because it was a while, I think, I don't know, but I was at rehab in Nebraska for a while until I started realizing kind of like, oh, what's happening? Like, and I asked my mom, like, where am I? You know, I don't really remember the first moment I asked though, you know.
Did you stay there in Nebraska? Inpatient?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm guessing it was for about like 3 weeks.
Did you realize, or did your food need to be pureed?
No.
No.
I think that that's a question. See, those are the details that I'm not sure of, and I'm like,
Okay.
wow, that's actually interesting. I should probably ask my mom this because I don't know. I mean, there's probably one point where, you know, I wasn't really eating because
Okay.
I was like, I couldn't wake up. I was like sleeping all the time because I
Okay.
couldn't stay awake.
Well, my food had to be pureed, and I didn't know that, and I just thought that's when the food stunk.
I mean, yeah. That might be better though. At least you can just get it down quickly. You know, you don't have to eat it and yeah. I mean, where I was at, I mean, it wasn't. I mean, I'm sure I ate at the hospital too, but I don't know. I don't remember. But like at the rehab place I was at, the food wasn't too bad. But
So my question is like, how was the rehab? For, not only for you as well, too, but like how? Like, tell us about all the details. You mentioned that he needs to learn how to walk and breathe and everything.
Walk, talk, breathe,
Right.
eat.
And like how was that month there? And how hard it was? What you had in your mind? What were you thinking when you were there? You know?
Were you scared?
yeah, well, it was kind of hard because I don't remember. There's one thing I'm like, I don't know, but like. I remember my family coming up for a little bit, and I remember my youngest brother was really young at the time, and we had to sleep in the same room, and I remember him like at night like whispering to my mom, and it sounded like screaming in my ear. It was so loud, just him whispering, and I would easily be irritated. I was very like, I would snap really quickly, you know, and so anyway, while they were there, it was kind of hard because everything was on, noise, light, talking, you know, everything. But it wasn't that long before they had to go back home. I had to go back to school, and my parents had to go back to work, so I was just there by myself all the time during the week, which was hard because, you know, I just like how the hell did this happen? You know, what, like really, like this really just happened? Like I think I couldn't believe it. I think I was like literally every day I was like, oh my god, like what? You know, you wake up and someone's like, oh, this happened to you, and you're like that's really scary. It's really scary. And so basically what I had to do every day was just, you know, I got to go to therapy. I had occupational therapy, I had speech therapy, and I had physical therapy. And at the beginning, I kind of remember, like, one thing I remember is I remember going through physical therapy, and I remember I remember like my physical therapist being like, Katie, wake up, like keep pedaling. Like I was probably on like some bike type thing, and I was just like, I remember my brain being like, I wanted to say like, listen, I can't. I'm on this, I cannot stay awake. I can't, but I couldn't. I didn't say anything. I wasn't there. I couldn't say anything. I was just sleeping. Like literally going to sleep right there. I couldn't stay awake, and I was wearing sunglasses everywhere I went. So I was in the building, just rocking my shades all day. So yeah, so after I started coming around more, I had physical therapy, of course, still, but I didn't need that much. I remember like my neck was kind of bothering me, and maybe like my back, but I think it was my neck mostly that I remember. Anyway, he had me like do stuff like the elliptical every day, and we, for fun, we'd like walk to the gym. He'd take me out to like a gym out in the city instead of being there every day at the.
The therapist you're talking about?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So we go to Starbucks sometimes. But so I didn't really need physical therapy that much, but the main thing that I needed was speech therapy and then occupational.
My physical therapist didn't take me to Starbucks. Stinks.
I got lucky.
Right.
Yeah. But
Could have went to rehab in the breath.
yeah. But yeah, so occupational therapy helped me with kind of like day-to-day skills. Like one time I just like learned how to follow instructions, how to cook, how to follow a recipe.
Did they work on your scanning? Your vision scanning?
I think so. Like, how do they do that with you?
They did, what are they called? The word searches.
Yeah.
And time how fast I could get those. Then they worked on my memory. They worked on your memory.
Oh yeah, that's what speech therapy was.
Okay.
Yeah. Occupational therapy was my favorite though because it's like kind of stuff that was like common sense. Like I didn't have to like remember anything. I just had to like put stuff together and think about how to do it. You know, work my brain to like figure out how to fix things, how to handle things. You know, and so that was fun to me. But speech therapy was awful because you know my short-term memory was the thing that I was struggling with. You know, there were some things I couldn't remember. Like I couldn't remember some my brothers. I couldn't remember like how old they were, what grade they were in. There's some stuff I couldn't remember, like long-term, that would be my long-term memory, but most of it was short-term.
But could you initially talk though?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a question for my mom. Like at the beginning, I don't know if I
Right.
kind of had issues like slurring words because, like I said, I remember kind of being there, kind of being awake. So I could, if I said something, I probably wouldn't be super clear, you know, super later,
Okay.
making all the sense, you know, but I could talk. But yeah, so my speech therapist just had me every day. Gosh, it was really hard because it was, I'm gonna read you a list of words and you repeat back to me 3 words you heard, and I can't do that. I can't do that. Or
Right.
she reads a little story and I can't remember anything. She's,
Okay.
or, you know, stuff like that. Or there's probably some stuff on a piece of paper I have to do too. I don't remember all the exercises, but just you know stuff to test my memory. I also had like a time where I would meet with a lady and work on my schoolwork that I was missing because I was in high school, and a lot of them though they just dropped my stuff. They just said, "Oh, it's okay, like you don't have to turn this in." So it was really nice because it was really. I mean, I didn't like school anyway, but then having a brain injury on top of it, being tired all day, having these
Yeah, I was
terrible
tired too.
pain in your head, and then having to do school, like, you know, so that was hard.
Yeah, no, that's great. What about your rehab? What were you thinking while you were there? I guess you weren't able to talk right away and
Right.
walk.
Well, like I said, I didn't know where I was. I didn't know why this mean lady was putting a helmet on me, put me in a wheelchair, and put me in parallel bars when she knows I can't walk anymore. I don't know why I can't walk, but why are you doing this to me? I thought she was mean to me. And then why this other lady was having me put pegs in the board with my left hand, which I could obviously do a lot easier with my right hand. And when she would look away or walk away or something, I knew she wasn't looking. I would sneak as many in my right side because I didn't know
Right, yeah.
that I was I needed to work with my left hand. And the speech, I would not, like, for example, you go to the speech therapist, I would sit in there in my wheelchair, they'd roll me up to their desk. Then she would say, "Do you remember my name?" It was the same one I had yesterday. I wouldn't say no, I would just,
Yeah.
and then I would not, they were trying everything they could to get me to say even one word. Well, this is one speech therapist said, "Look, you can cuss me out for all I care, just say a word." And they ran all kinds of tests on me to see why I wasn't speaking. If my windpipes were damaged from jamming the breathing, the trach in my neck, and that wasn't it, and they just didn't know. And then, I mentioned earlier, my left arm was here, and the physical therapist, the same lady I thought was mean to me, had me laying on the mat in rehab. They would do serial casting, so I cast it out to here for about a week or so, then cast it out further, and at that time I was laying on the mat and they were trying to stretch my left arm out straight, and I was pounding on the mat to tell them that it hurt. I wasn't saying anything, and my dad was there and he said, "Son, if it hurts, you can say ouch." And then the light bulb went on. Oh yeah, I can talk. Ouch! So, and that was my first word since the accident, which is kind of appropriate. Ouch. So it was that I was trying to speak and couldn't. It was that the best I can remember, the thought of speaking, it didn't even occur to me. Like when you want to ask me a question, do you have to think, I can't talk, so how are you doing? No, you just talk. But I had to be reminded by my dad that I could talk, and then I talked. No, but it wasn't that I said that and then I could just talk like I am now. It was a process. I would say a few words here and there, and there was a doctor, and he said, "Tim, if you say pizza, I will buy you a pizza." And my dad leaned down behind my wheelchair and he said, "Say Red Lobster." Because Red Lobster is one of my favorite restaurants. So I said, in my starting off voice, "Red Lobster." But the doctor, he true to his word, he bought me some Red Lobster. Now, and I still didn't know my food had to be pureed. So I'm looking forward to it, and then when I open it, it's blended up Alfredo stuff, and I'm thinking, I didn't want this. But even pureed Red Lobster food is a lot better than the hospital food. But, what else?
When did you figure out, like, oh, my left side doesn't work? When, like, did someone tell you, like your dad told you to speak, or something that you figured by yourself?
That was, because like I said before, my left arm was diagonal, clenched across my chest, and it didn't register to me why that was like that. I just knew it was, and so I obviously didn't use it much.
Yeah.
So it was pretty early on that I realized I couldn't do that, but see, I came from athletics. Why are you putting me in a wheelchair? why are you putting this stupid helmet on me? What could possibly go wrong in a wheelchair? And then, when I tried to get up and stand, couldn't do that. I didn't know why. Okay. But I didn't have a whole lot of time to dwell on it or think about it. And if I did think about it, I don't remember. I didn't have a whole, I sat on that, have a whole lot of time because I was too frustrated at what they were making me do, or tired from getting me up, or thinking about the stupid helmet that's on my head that is too tight and ugly and making me sweat. And so I really didn't think about the why all that much until much later, when I finally realized that my teammates have been killed, what happened, and that kind of was a punch to the gut, punch to the face. So it really hit hard when I learned that, which I didn't know, even though Mom and Dad had repeatedly told me what was going on, why I was there. It didn't register at all. So now, how ridiculous is that? I'm thinking, let's pretend that you're all therapists. I'm thinking all you're out to get me and have fun at my expense. Mom and Dad are right there. Why would they let that happen? But that didn't concern me. I was concerned about them being mean to me. So,
I mean, yeah, I get that.
did you think that?
I don't know. I don't think so from what I remember, but then again, like I said at the beginning, I might have thought a lot of things that I don't remember, you know what I mean? 'Cause
Yeah.
I slowly kind of came back to life, is what it felt like.
Yeah.
It's weird, but
Same with me. Kind of thawed out.
yeah. And I mean, the thing that I thought did rehab was, I mean, you know, as days went on, and I realized, you know, literally every day I was there, I could notice a difference. I could notice myself improving, you know, which is weird because in life like today, you know, when we make improvements, we don't notice them until we look back and we're like, oh wow, like I used to not be able to do that, or I used to do it this way, but now I can do it this way. Like I've improved. But there, I could literally see an improvement every single day. Just, you know, everything, just being able to walk and having less pain in my head. And
By there, when you say there, you mean in the Nebraska hospital?
yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, 'cause I don't remember anything before that. Just sometime after I was, it might have been like a week even, that I was in Nebraska at the rehab center there. It might have been like a week after I got there that I just finally started like realizing what was happening.
Okay.
So yeah, I just you know, every day I improved and I was like, okay, you know, it still was so hard for me to believe. Every day I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm living this, you know? And then I was just like, well, knowing me, I'm like, well, I want this. I want to get back to where I was before, and I'm gonna get that. So I wasn't gonna take no for an answer. Like I had to be so. I don't really know if I have certain criteria besides, you know, me having less pain and getting better at my short-term memory for them to send me home. You know, I don't know, it was something, you know, stuff like that. I had to improve that. But anyway, I was just so determined to get there. Because for some reason, I just wanted to get back home so I could get back on to, like, you know, what I thought normal was, like, back to my normal life, you know, whatever. And so every day I was just working so hard I was just working so hard. You know, I just kept going. Every day I just kept going. And I just kept, you know, with the goal or the thought that, okay, I'm gonna get there. Just gotta keep going, just get better, just get done with rehab, you know, and, you know, that was it. I was just gonna do it. I don't think I really ever thought, well, what if I don't get back to normal? You know, I was just like, I'm going to. You know, which is kind of weird how I felt like that so easily. But now if I apply it to things in today's life, it takes me a minute. I have to think, okay, if I could do that, if I could apply that to a brain injury, I think I can apply that to, day-to-day stuff in my life that I want to do.
Sometimes you think, I don't know if I can make it, and we should even consider that hypothesis. I'm gonna do it. Like,
yeah.
I will, no matter what.
Yeah, I'm a person. It's like, if I'm like, if I want it, I'm gonna get it. So I'm gonna get it.
Kind of the same thing with me.
Yeah.
But like you said, it didn't register to me that it might not happen.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't even cross my mind.
Yeah.
In your case, people actually told you you're not gonna learn new things, you're not gonna get this much better.
Right.
And I think you didn't believe them. I'm glad you didn't.
Right. But up until that point, it never even, I thought, I'll do it. It'll take a lot longer, but
Yeah.
just keep
It's
going
crazy,
and I'll
like
do
there
it.
was no negative, well, besides people telling you, being
Yeah.
negative saying you can, but like there was no like question about it. I was just like, well, I'm here. What else can I do besides work? So I just worked.
So that's crazy how we listen to other people, and even the bad thoughts in our mind, and sometimes that's what kind of don't let us go forward, and maybe if we just had the mindset that you guys did back then, we would be able to achieve so many things.
I mean, yeah, that's proof. That's proof that it works.
Yeah.
It's proof that believing in yourself is really the answer to everything. Working hard and believing in yourself. That's it. You can
And
do
in
whatever you want.
sports, we hear that all the time. Like,
But you hear it, you're just like, oh yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, shut up. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, it's kind of bullshit. But like, no, it's not. It's really not.
no, but we hear all the time that like people saying you that you're not gonna be able to do it because you're not good enough, or we're not tall enough,
Yeah.
you're not strong enough, you don't have like this enough
That's
skills
just
to
made
do
up.
it.
That's just
Yeah.
made up stuff. You know what I mean?
And-
Because someone told them that, or that's what happened to them, so they're like, well, that's why I didn't make it. It's because I wasn't strong enough, I wasn't tall enough. They didn't like me. That's not why you didn't make it. You didn't make it because you didn't try hard enough. You didn't believe in yourself. I mean, I feel like I think it's more in the believing in yourself part. Because if you believe in yourself, then you're just gonna keep trying, you're gonna keep working hard.
Yeah. So
And I gotta remind myself of that because I forget.
We all
The
do.
thing
We
is,
all do.
my accent was different from Tim's because I think there's things I still live with, but it's hard for me to know. Well, is that from my brain injury or is that just me? Are my crazy mood swings from my brain injury, or is it from just me, my personality? My forgetfulness,
Must be
my quick being so fast paced. I don't know, but like,
Must be a terrible feeling.
yeah, you don't know. That's what's hard.
Mhm.
But I forgot what I was saying. But anyway, yeah, it's hard to know if that was from that or just me.
Well, while you got the excuse, might as well use it, right?
Right? Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm like, well,
Perfect.
actually, I can go through this.
Perfect.
But yeah, like I said, this is what I was saying. It wasn't. Some of the things I deal with now aren't as huge as what you're dealing with. You know what I mean? Like, I can easily say, oh, well, maybe that's just how I am, whatever. But you have that reminder, And sometimes I kind of need to just remind myself because I need to remind myself, hey, you did go through this. Like, be humble and like keep working because if you did this, like you can keep going. You know what I mean? And sometimes I forget, and I came out of it so well that I'm thankful I did. But sometimes I'm like, okay, you're lucky you came out of it well. So you need to learn your lesson. You didn't have something. You didn't have, you were able to walk. You were able to speak and everything. So you're able to get out of it like without those struggles. So you better still remember what you went through.
So I'm curious, how was after rehab? How was to come back to life for us, to the daily routine? How to see other people, to figure stuff out and.
Why was it rough for you?
Well, so I don't know why. I don't know why. But when I came back from rehab, it was probably I think it was on a Friday. And, then we had school on Monday, and I was like, okay, I'm going to school Monday. And my mom, all my family was like, no, I think you can just like chill out and stay home for a bit, like ease your way back into things. And I was like, nope. Like I'm driving again. I'm going back to school. I'm going back to practice. Like, and I couldn't do all that, but I could. Anyway, I was so stubborn about it, and I did go back to school on Monday. And that's one thing I wish I didn't do, because I wasn't ready, I wasn't prepared mentally to face people after that, because, you know, it was a small town, everybody knew what happened. But also, people didn't really know everything, they didn't know everything, you know? Because to them, here I was, I'm fine, you know? Oh, she's there, she's talking to me, she looks the same, so, whatever, like, is it really that bad, you know? But also, I came in with the mindset that I had to, like, protect myself because of that. Because of all the people saying all these crazy, making all these crazy rumors and looking at me like, oh, like, you know, just kind of weird, like, oh shit, there's Katie, you know? And I was just, I wasn't prepared to deal with that, so I kind of put up this wall. I was already kind of a person who had a wall up between, like, other people, you know? Especially students at school. You know,
Yeah, you were ignoring me the first time we met.
No, that's not true. I just didn't hear him. I heard someone talk to me, but I was like, I'm not gonna do anything. I'm at the gym. I'm just gonna keep working. Yeah. But yeah, so I put up that wall, and then I was just kind of like, I kind of seemed like just like I'm a happy person. I seemed like mad and defensive. I was just like really like probably just worried and like scared, because like that's a huge thing, and going back to high school is hard, you know, and I don't think that many people really knew the story. And I didn't really have any close friends at that time that really knew everything. However, if people would ask about it, I would tell them because I wanted them to know the truth, you know. But it was just hard for me to go back to school because I don't know, it was just weird, because I was dealing with a lot of things I didn't see, and I don't know.
Well, come back for me was weird too, because my identity was gone. I mean, I had an identity of a great athlete, and now I can't really use my left arm, can't really walk all that well, can't run anymore, because my left leg, it was, who am I now? It was like kind of, it's almost depressing, sort of, what good am I? But I realized that the Lord gave me this duty to talk to people, to help people when I can, make them better therapists or nurses, which I do sometimes, things like that. So,
Yeah, you gotta keep in mind, like, okay, you have a purpose, it's gonna be different now.
yes,
You still have a
there's
purpose, you know?
completely different the way you thought it might be, but
Right.
yeah,
It humbles you, doesn't it?
yes it
You're
does.
like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now that you are talking about purpose, I remember when we went to my FYE class, my English wasn't very reliable at that time, but you showed us a video, and then in the video you were in the rehab, and you said, I want to be an inspiration for other people.
Yeah.
And you had this mindset since the beginning, I think. I don't know, for me that's like awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Well, probably not at the very beginning. At the very beginning, I was mad. I was confused, but like you said, toward the beginning, after I realized, now I know what I want to do. But this is more when I got back to life, got out of the wheelchair, started driving again. Those things hit me again, like, what good am I? What's going on here? So, yeah, but I still want to inspire people, I want to help people when I can. I want to, because I know the Lord, there's a reason I'm here. So the Lord said, you stay there. So I need to do something. So, and that's what I'm going to do.
And you have like a story that's really kind of unbelievable, that how we overcame everything.
Yeah.
But like I think we should have this mindset, like to inspire other people. Like, of course, I may not be able to influence that many people right now, but like I can influence people around me in a positive way, and then that should be a goal for all of us.
Right.
Yeah, well, I think once we create a purpose, our life becomes, I wouldn't say easier, but it's kind of easier to guide our life. You
Gives you
know?
a goal, gives
Yeah.
you a beacon in the distance.
Right, because well, we have a purpose that is bigger than ourselves, you know,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
especially when we include other people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like that. So my next question for you guys, what kind of advice you would give to people that are listening to us and they, I mean, they are going through something that is hard, they are having a hard time, and what would you tell them according to your experience?
I mean, kind of what we just talked about, like believing in yourself, figuring out, making sure whatever you're working towards, whatever you're wanting to improve, that it's something that you really deep down want. You don't want because it's your parents' dream, or because you're trying to impress somebody. But it's got to be something you want, but you're not going to ever get there because you're not going to be able to work towards it in a way to achieve it. And so then, once you find out whatever you really want, whatever you're trying to achieve or do or have, you just got to believe in yourself, believe that you can do it. And then I think by believing in yourself, that will just believing in yourself is what's going to help you just take that action. Because there's got to be action, but like, it's not going to be as hard. If you believe in yourself, it's going to happen. Like, okay, then everything you're doing is going to be to achieve that, to get that, So that, yeah.
Cool. I like that.
I would say, I don't care what you're doing. It could be cleaning bathrooms, anything you're doing, but do it to the absolute best that you can do it. The best of your ability, give it everything you have. If you're a water boy on the 7th grade basketball team, do your best to give it everything you have, put everything toward it, and then things build. Things, you do that well, then you do the next thing well, then people notice, you doing a bigger thing well, and so on.
I love that.
Yeah.
I really like that. Actually, there is a soccer coach, Jurgen Klopp. He's a coach from Liverpool in England, and he has this culture of playing 100% every single game. And sometimes it's bad because they need their players to save energy in an easy game to play the biggest game, like the tougher game after. And sometimes like the players are tired and get injured, but he has this mindset of 100%, not because that game is important, but it's because it's a culture. You do everything 100%, and then you get used to that. And kind of goes in the way they were saying, no matter what you're doing, like do it 100%, and then you're gonna be like 100% in everything in your life. And I think that's huge.
Winning is not a sometimes thing, it's an all the time thing. You don't do things right once in a while, you do things right all of the time.
Yeah, because when it comes to the big stuff, if you half-ass everything else in your life, you're gonna half-ass that too. Even if you think you know what I mean? Like, that's just the habit you're building every day by, not giving
Building
your all.
habit, yes.
So, yeah.
And I like what you said about building, because sometimes we give everything, but we don't see the results that we want. But once we create the habit to do everything 100%, the best way that we can, there will be that day that you're gonna see the results that you want. Maybe it won't be tomorrow, maybe it won't be next year, but one day your time will come for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that. And just to kind of wrap it up, one question that we always ask for our guest speaker is how you guys measure and define success in your life.
You can go.
What is success for you, Peter?
Well, I think success used to be, to me, it used to be like me reaching a high-end long-term goal of mine, being able to reach whatever goal I had and then I'd be successful, But now that I'm learning a lot more about life and I'm realizing, I think the real thing that I'm going to be searching for is happiness. but happiness there isn't a certain destination point for happiness. You know, you're always gonna be working every day. You know, that's something that I'm gonna have to be working every day at. To be, you know, by growing within myself or loving myself. You know, all those things are gonna help create happiness. And to me, it's just something that for me personally, I'm gonna get by, you know, me recognizing my faults, me being able to improve things that I know I need to be improving on, you know, or, you know, being honest with myself, and all of those things are what's gonna make me happy, you know, making sure I'm waking up every day and doing everything that I can, you know. So that stuff, to me, working hard, you know, believing in myself is what's gonna make me happy. And to me, you know, doing everything you can, being content with where you're at, and whatever your version of happiness is, I think that's success.
Success is doing something satisfying for somebody else. There's nothing that brings me more satisfaction than helping someone else, than giving them advice, or helping them in their profession, or whatever it is. Maybe it's just helping them pick up after they drop something. That satisfies me to no end. And like with nursing students or therapy students, I share my story, I help them to be better versions of therapists, of nurses, because I had that experience. So I try and help them become the best version of themselves. And I speak for the physical therapy class at UT, and there was a student one year whose mother made her a bracelet with a quote from my speech. And that quote is, "Be someone's hope." So, if the physical therapy students can see me and listen to me and help somebody else in my situation be their hope, then I will have done my job. That is success to me.
Yeah, no, I love that, and I agree with you. Like, success is in the small things, you know. Like, so people think, oh, I want to be successful one day. Oh, you can be successful today, helping that someone doing something, you know, crossing the street, or I don't know, something super small. So yeah, I love that.
And I like what Katie said as well about happiness, because sometimes we want to like achieve happiness. When I be there, I'm gonna be happy. But I think the process of getting there is what will make you even happier. Like the process is like the happiness itself. It goes through what you said, like the small stuff during the day, like getting better each day, see your personal like development, personal growth, and that's success for me as well. Like see you grow, and then that's success.
Right. Like for me, it's like if I know I'm not improving in areas I know I should be, or it's like okay, I know I could be doing things like that. And that would just, you know, it would make me happy because I know I can be doing better. So I think there's always room for improvement and room to be honest with yourself about how you're living your life.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that people will love everything that you guys said, and they will learn a lot. So yeah, thanks so much for being here, and for sure I think we can still talk a lot about other things, and for sure I'll need you guys for another part two for sure. But thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to say thank you as well. And I don't know if there is like a book or a quote that you guys would like to share so people can read and
Just a second. Let me start recording again because we're going to stop. Yeah, so go ahead.
Well, like I said, Christ helped inspire me because I know He was there. I felt Him at times, and my teammates were killed. They inspired me and kept me going.
My quotes, well, like, I mean, this doesn't like necessarily keep me going every day, but I guess it's kind of a quote that I think about. I think about more often probably, to keep me going. But one of them is by Henry Ford, and it goes, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. I remember like my middle school counselor telling me that when I was like in 5th grade, and I was like, what the hell does this mean? I was like, whatever, like, move on, please. And I was like, really, I felt like that. That's who I was. But now I'm like, that just makes perfect sense. Like nothing has made more sense to me ever. You know, then I was so confused, but now it makes, you know, I live by it. And then another one I like, I think it's by Jack Canfield, and it's everything you want is on the other side of fear. Because I feel like that stops me in a lot of situations, and so I believe in that book a lot.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Katie.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate your time, and I hope people can enjoy listening to this and like apply in their lives as well. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.